it's your classic startup story, right? When I joined SafetyCulture, I think we had about maybe 30 sales and success people globally. So we had just set up offices in the US and the UK. And with that came a lot of just testing to see what works, right? We were figuring out pricing, we were figuring out the right contract terms. We didn't know how customers wanted to buy from us at the time. There was a lot of that testing and learning. So it's fantastic, it's exactly what you should be doing, but when it comes to how you scale that, there's a ton of bespoke stuff happening in there, which means that there's a ton of manual processes that, our poor finance team is having to manage through huge spreadsheets that break, and there's errors and all the rest of it. So I think it was one of those times where we were trying to build systems and process that weren't system and processes for that sake, but were things that were actually going to enable us to unlock that next level of scale in an efficient way.
Yeah, so it was a bit of forming and storming. So we say
Completely.
wild west, but not in too negative a sense.
No,
because you
not
have
at all.
to try and kind of build the plane in the air a little bit.
Oh yeah.
But it got to a point where, you guys had to make some sort of changes. What were just some of the challenges between, we talk about marketing, sales, finance, ops. We didn't really have ops at that point. But what were some of the individual challenges between those teams that led you to a bit of a pause and a retake of the situation?
I think one of the biggest ones was actually in that relationship between sales and finance. So what we found was, by nature of sales going out and closing those deals and doing what they could to get a deal across the line, it often created a lot of pain in the back end for finance. And there was just this real disconnect between what we were selling and what we were actually able to support from a systems perspective, how our subscription thing actually worked, and there being a disconnect between what we'd sold the customer and then what we were actually able to bill. So that just created all this friction in terms of sales and finance maybe not being best of friends at the time, and each seeing the other as either a handcuff or a burden or something that was just making each other's lives much harder.
So sales is out there growing the company, bringing in new contracts, probably with some big vendors, I'd imagine back then. So some big contracts and wanting a high five, and finance is sitting there going, how am I going to service this
pretty much
crazy deal that you've just sold and now it's on my plate?
And we were getting to a point where to grow the sales team as we wanted to, we would have needed to grow the finance team just as big and just as quickly, and that's not an effective way to scale a business. I think we also have the complexity of being a product-led growth business as well, right? And wanting there to be that interaction between customers just able to come and find us and sign up to the product, see value in it, continue to use it and grow organically in that way, while also having this balance of a sales-assisted growth model as well, where you've kind of got both that top-down and bottoms-up and wanting to make sure that they're working together. That can be difficult to make those things sing harmoniously.